What if the first nor'easter of the year was a monster storm packing enough snow to shut down the entire East Coast? A dangerous low-pressure system is about to explode in strength as it barrels up the East Coast, and its target is a massive stretch of the country, from Ohio all the way to Maine, threatening a widespread, crippling snow event. Are you in the path of the initial impact zone? We're looking at a guaranteed 4 to 8 inches of heavy, wet snow for millions. But here's the twist that has forecasters worried. What if a narrow, super intense band sets up, dumping over 1 foot of snow in a single area? Major cities like Albany and Worcester are directly in the crosshairs. And even Boston could face the worst of it. The big question is, where will this crippling snow band decide to park itself? But it gets worse. This storm is hiding another threat, something the last one didn't have. I'm talking about a significant risk of treacherous ice accumulation, starting all the way back in parts of Oklahoma, creeping through Arkansas, and potentially glazing over the entire Ohio Valley before it even reaches the coast. And when it arrives, it's bringing all the classic nor'easter nightmares: blinding, wind-driven snow that plasters every surface, travel conditions that go from bad to impossible in minutes, plus the threat of coastal flooding and beach erosion for anyone near the water. Can you even imagine snowfall rates hitting over 3 inches per hour? At that rate, you're looking at instant whiteout conditions, making any attempt to travel not just dangerous, but potentially deadly. We're talking a complete shutdown. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to give you the exact timeline for this storm. We'll break down exactly who gets hit and when, so you can figure out how to protect your family and salvage your plans for the start of the week. But before we dive into that timeline, you need to see the proof of what this kind of system can do. The storm system that preceded this one just unleashed a truly historic blizzard across the Midwest, a terrifying preview of what's coming. Cities like Des Moines and even St. Louis were absolutely buried, smashing records with some of the highest single-day snowfall totals that these cities have ever recorded in the entire month of November. Think about that. Des Moines was slammed with nearly a full foot of snow, landing it in the top 5 snowiest November days in its entire history. And in St. Louis, the forecast was completely blown away. We saw widespread reports of 8 inches of snow, far more than anyone expected. The highest total reported so far was a staggering 15 inches near Fort Dodge, Iowa. And it didn't stop there. Even Chicago got in on the action. Some parts of the city were buried under nearly a foot of snow. If you got hit by that storm, I need to hear from you. Drop your snow total in the comments right now. Your report helps paint the full picture of this monster's power. Now, keeping that destructive power in mind, let's track the path of this new nor'easter. You don't want to miss the next part. Let's start with the storm's current position, because what's happening right now will determine who gets the worst of it tomorrow. Have you seen the snow outside? It's still coming down across Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. But what happens later this morning is the real question. We're tracking the potential for some sneaky lake effect snow to pop up over in far western and northern Michigan. But here's the twist. It's going to be incredibly concentrated, a very localized blast. This means most of Michigan won't actually see much more snow accumulate today. Then, by this afternoon and into the evening, a new band of snow will slide into far northern New England. But don't brace for a blizzard. Generally, no more than 3 to 6 inches of snow is in the cards there. Now, you might think that as we head into tonight and tomorrow, things will finally calm down. But that's where you'd be wrong, because 2 massive areas of energy are on a collision course, set to meet tomorrow. Our first player in this drama is a wave of snow currently pushing its way right over the Rockies. That's one source of moisture, but where is the other one coming from? A second powerful stream of moisture is being pulled all the way up from the Gulf. And these 2 systems are destined to merge into one monster late on Monday. But don't miss what happens before they unite. We'll see some light snowfall through the morning, a prelude to the main event across parts of Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska. But the real danger isn't the snow. A bit of freezing rain is possible in far northeastern Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas, and creeping into southwestern Missouri. This is a major concern because any amount of freezing rain or sleet that falls is a serious problem. It could easily lead to ice accumulation. But what I'm about to tell you is the most critical part. It does not take a lot of freezing rain to turn the ground into a skating rink. In fact, with how cold the ground temperatures will be, it only takes a few drops for ice to form. That's precisely why this is so incredibly concerning for us. The danger is magnified in areas where the roadways might not be treated. So please, keep that in mind. Then on Monday afternoon, the story continues. We'll see that light snow continue its journey across Illinois and back through Kansas. But that freezing rain threat expands with a glaze of ice now possible in southern and central Missouri and across northwestern Arkansas. That means more ice, more danger. Then, late Monday, the main event begins. We're going to watch as these two separate areas of energy finally become one cohesive system. And the result? A much larger, more powerful winter storm is born as we push into Monday night. That's when the snow will become much more widespread, engulfing areas across the Ohio Valley. I fully expect that snow to completely fill in the map across Ohio, Indiana, and it's also set to slam into northern Kentucky. But could a hidden danger be lurking? We're talking freezing rain, a sneaky threat from northeast Arkansas into western Kentucky, while the southeast just gets a soaking rain. And as if that's not enough, a couple of severe storms could fire up. But the real show begins as we head into the overnight hours. That's when the snow is set to absolutely explode, becoming far more widespread. Are you ready for this? We are going to see heavy snow blanketing Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio. It's also marching into Pennsylvania and New York. But here's the critical twist. This snow is moving at an incredible speed. I can't stress this enough. This is a lightning-fast winter storm event. So what does that mean for you? It means that surprisingly, many of these areas won't actually see massive snowfall totals. Now, don't confuse this with the storm we saw yesterday. That was a slow, lumbering giant compared to this one. That last one was massive and took its sweet time. This storm is a cannonball, blasting from west to east. This means most areas will only have a tiny window of about 3 to 6 hours of actual snowfall. Now, for the timeline you need to know, by Tuesday morning, that heavy snow will be draped across the Northeast, hitting New York first. Then it barrels into New England, covering almost the entire region. I say almost, because a few places might just get lucky. The only spots in New England I expect to dodge the snow are in southern Connecticut. The same goes for southern Rhode Island and Cape Cod. You're likely in the clear. But the danger isn't over. Let's talk about ice, because a glaze could build up in areas like Maryland and West Virginia. It could even sneak into the higher elevations of far northeastern Tennessee. Now, let's jump ahead to Tuesday at lunchtime. This is when the storm is at its peak, with heavy snow still hammering most of New England, New York, and Pennsylvania. It'll even be clipping far northern New Jersey. But then, almost as fast as it started, it begins to fall apart by Tuesday evening. The last remnants of the storm will be lingering around and just to the north of Boston. It'll be winding down back through Maine, and maybe a few final flakes will be left over in Connecticut. But is that all? Not quite. A little bit of light snow could sweep across the northern plains and the upper Midwest as we go into Tuesday night. However, don't expect much from it. Overall accumulations from that will be pretty minimal. Okay, you've been patient. Now for the part you've been waiting for. Let's talk exact numbers for snow and ice accumulation. And the most important question is first, how much snow are you going to have to shovel? This is the very latest map from the National Weather Service, and what it reveals might surprise you. Notice that we are not expecting a widespread dumping of a foot or more of snow anywhere in the Ohio Valley. And why is that? Again, it all comes down to the incredible speed of this system. Not only is it fast, but it also loses a lot of its strength as it barrels through the Ohio Valley. So what's the verdict? I think a reasonable 1 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 inches is the most likely scenario for Ohio and Indiana. And Pennsylvania will be right on the table. But could some isolated areas see even higher amounts than this? But here's the twist. For most places, the total snowfall isn't going to be the main event. Honestly, I'm going on record saying I think this could be a slight overestimate from the models. I mean, are we truly going to see that much snow pile up? I have my doubts. The real answer will come tonight when the new model data rolls in, and you'll want to see what that shows. But I am keeping a close eye on areas like Kansas City stretching back through central Illinois. In that zone, a coating of 1 to 2 inches is possible, and we can't rule out a rogue storm band dropping up to 4 inches in a very localized spot. But overall, the snow threat should be pretty minimal. The real danger is something else. Let's talk about the biggest concern with this entire system: the ice. This is where a huge question mark appears. The NAM 3K model is painting a chilling scenario of a massive ice storm stretching from Arkansas all the way through Kentucky, hitting Ohio, West Virginia, and even Pennsylvania. An event like this would without a doubt cancel school for countless areas on Tuesday. But here's the crucial point. It is not a guarantee that we'll see ice this widespread. The official National Weather Service forecast tells a very different story. They're calling for a much more localized event, focused mainly on Arkansas and then over in eastern Kentucky and West Virginia, especially right over the Appalachian Mountains where we could see a very specific weather event unfold. It's possible we could get a small cold air damming event, but let's bring the focus back to Arkansas. That is ground zero for the highest probability of a dangerous glazing of ice. We're talking up to 1/10 of an inch of ice on the table. So what does that actually mean for you? If you are in Arkansas, you absolutely must stay weather aware on Monday because a lot of roads may not be treated at all. I'm talking specifically about side roads, which means things could get incredibly slick incredibly fast. And here's my take again. I don't think this situation will be as widespread as that first model is showing. I believe if we do see significant ice accumulation, the bullseye will most likely be a bit further north, impacting southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. This is changing by the hour, which is why we're releasing another video update either tonight or tomorrow to cover it. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you click that bell icon so you get notified the second that critical update drops. Now, shifting gears to the northeast, that's a completely different story. I'm quite confident we're going to see a widespread 3 to 6 inches of snow for most of Pennsylvania, right up through New York and across New England. But here's the kicker. There will likely be some isolated pockets that get blasted with closer to 8 to 10 inches of snow, especially in the zones where those heavier bands of snow are expected to set up, particularly in southern New Hampshire and southern Maine. And we can't forget central and western Massachusetts. Now here's what the National Weather Service is predicting. It's running pretty close to the computer models I just showed you, but with a twist. It's highlighting some surprise localized pockets that could get hit even harder. We're talking a potential 8 to 9 inches of snow piling up in northeast Pennsylvania and southeast New York. So to put it plainly, are we getting a winter storm? Yes, a winter storm is definitely on the table, but there's a catch. This nor'easter is a speed demon. It's moving through incredibly fast. And because of that speed, it doesn't look like the blockbuster event that some models were forecasting just a few days ago. If this forecast takes a dramatic turn in the next 24 hours, and it could, we'll have an emergency update for you. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Now for this upcoming winter event from Monday into Tuesday, don't miss this part. We are locking in at least minor travel impacts. That's a huge stretch. From Kansas all the way back through Pennsylvania and the Northeast. But if you live in the orange shaded area, you need to pay close attention because that's where moderate travel impacts are a real possibility. The bullseye for those tougher conditions will be right across northeastern Pennsylvania. And check this out. A couple of other spots like Little Rock and back towards Fort Smith could also see moderate travel impacts on Monday. But why there? It's because of a different, more dangerous threat: ice accumulation. So stay alert. We'll be pushing out constant updates on our social media pages like Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Max Velocity WX. You can find the direct links to our social media pages in the description right below this video. Now, once this winter storm moves out, are we in the clear? Not even close. We're tracking a few more major problems that are set to develop during the middle and end of the week. This first winter weather event will finally exit late Tuesday into Wednesday. But there's one more thing about this nor'easter you need to know. It's packing some serious wind for the northeast. So, this is your heads up. Damaging wind gusts between 30 to 45 miles per hour are definitely on the table for Monday and Tuesday. Now, let's look ahead to Wednesday and Thursday. High pressure is going to build in along the East Coast, but at the same time, we'll see a little snow fire up across the Rockies in the upper Midwest. But will it amount to anything? Honestly, significant accumulation is not expected from that system, so don't get too worried. I mean, we might see an inch or two, but after what we've been seeing lately, that's nothing. However, what comes next week is a whole different story we're already tracking. So, what's on the horizon for Wednesday and Thursday? A shadow of potential snow is creeping across the northeast. But is this the monster storm we've been dreading? Not this time. We're looking at mostly light snow, not a blockbuster event. But the real danger reignites late Thursday into Friday. Could we see a terrifying comeback of severe storms along the Gulf Coast? At the bare minimum, the threat of life-altering flash floods is becoming a major concern there for both Thursday and Friday. You absolutely need to be on high alert for that. Then, as we roll into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a wild card emerges. There is a very, very slim chance right now that a surprise winter storm could crash the party across the mid-Atlantic. What's fueling all this chaos? A massive invasion of frigid air is plunging into the United States as we speak. For many of you waking up this morning, that bone-chilling cold is your new reality, and unfortunately, it's here to stay for a while. And so, the one question we have to answer is just how brutally cold is it going to get over the next few days? And could that cold trigger an even more shocking event? We're watching for a rare southern winter storm to erupt later in the week, thanks to all that moisture sitting in the Gulf. So believe me when I say, something is definitely on the table for later this week. But I'm going to tell you why the GFS model's terrifying forecast is likely an exaggeration. Don't miss the next part. Then, as we look towards next weekend and into the start of the following week, the forecast becomes a total mystery. The GFS model is trying to spin up another potential nor'easter on Sunday and Monday. Now, if that nightmare scenario were to actually happen, we would have to just wait and watch it unfold. But let's be clear. It's simply too soon to know if that threat is real. However, there is one thing I know for certain. We are locked in for a turbulent, highly active weather pattern for the next couple of weeks. And even though there isn't another major winter storm on the immediate forecast after this Tuesday's event, I am convinced we are going to see at least 2 more major systems before Christmas, and then after the holidays, things are going to get absolutely wild in January and February. You can count on it. This is the brutal reality of winter, and it plays out almost every single year. So make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications for the critical updates on the insane winter weather that is coming your way. Now, let's talk about these temperatures, because over the next 7 to 10 days, it's going to be downright frigid for a huge part of the United States. Right now, a giant dome of Arctic air is surging towards our Gulf Coast states. Step 1, it's going to be brutally cold across the Central Plains, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast all the way through Monday and Tuesday. Step 2, by Wednesday and Thursday, that final shot of cold air will have completely conquered New England. But don't think for a second the cold stops there. What's coming by Wednesday and Thursday? Another brutal shot of Arctic air. And this next wave is packing a much bigger punch, aimed squarely at the Midwest and the Great Lakes. Then, It's set to slam the northeast on Thursday. So if you're out there, things are going to stay bitterly cold for a while. And just when you think you might get a break, what happens next weekend? You guessed it. Yet another wave is already lining up to invade the northern plains, the Midwest, and the Ohio Valley. It looks like we're locked in with even more cold air barreling in during the second week of December. We're talking about a relentless, almost never-ending cycle of cold impacting the United States this December. This is without a doubt one of the most aggressive and active starts to a winter season that we've seen in terms of both snow and this punishing cold in a very long time. And it's not just me saying this. The Climate Prediction Center is in complete agreement with this pattern, confirming that we will continue to see below-average temperatures dominating the Midwest, the Northeast, and the Mid-Atlantic, at least through the end of the first week of December. But here's a small twist. At the same time, much warmer than average temperatures are likely across the Rockies, the West Coast, and even in the Southeast. Now don't go anywhere because I have two very important announcements. The first one is that I'm finally taking a vacation for the next 7 days. This is my only one for the entire year that I'm taking, and I honestly haven't had a real break in what feels like forever. So I will be away for the next 7 days. However, and this is the key part for you, my plan is to still upload a video every single day, but there's a catch. I'm going to be on a cruise ship. And as you might know, the Wi-Fi on those things can be a total nightmare. So I honestly have no idea what the situation will be, but I promise I will keep you guys updated right here on YouTube. So here's the deal. If you see a video from me tomorrow, you'll know the internet is working and everything is fine. That will mean I've got a connection and can keep the uploads coming your way. That's the hope, so let's all keep our fingers crossed. And the second huge announcement is that these are the final days to get in on the Black Friday sale over at shopmaxilocity.net. You can find the link right at the top of the description below. If you use the code Black Friday, you'll get $5 off on any purchase of $50 or more. We just dropped our new cheese curd collection, which of course is named after my cat, and it's available in the store right now. We also have our epic supercell collection, our Happy Holidays merch, and a whole lot of other cool stuff. But again, I have to repeat this. If you want anything from the store to be delivered before Christmas, you need to order now. If you want to get this in your hands, you've got to place your order within the next 1 or 2 weeks to guarantee it arrives on schedule. Now for a major update. We're returning to the main studio in about 1 week. But what does that mean for the videos until then? The content isn't stopping. In fact, we'll be dropping fresh videos every single day, but with a surprising twist you won't see coming. We're taking this operation on the road, filming from a completely new, secret location. Trust me, you're going to want to see this. Don't miss the next part because our very first video from this new spot will finally expose the project we've been hiding for months. See you there.